Good evening. This is the Competent Man Wall Street Week with the Competent Man. This is broadcast for weeks ending Friday, October 6th and Friday, October 13th, being broadcast on Saturday, October 14th. Last week I didn't do a broadcast because I was away in New York City, unfortunately. So I'm going to do it for both weeks. The intro monologue. Item of personal interest. I got word that one co-worker of mine from the past, Marilyn Gray, passed away this past Monday, October 9th, on Columbus Day at age 65. I worked with her at CGIT Systems in Medway, Mass for a number of years, which is too bad. She was a nice person to work with, never had any problems with her, and she'll be missed. For whatever reason, I don't see any obituaries been posted online yet, or if it has, I haven't been able to find it. Hopefully there'll be one posted shortly. I'm kind of surprised that in recent years, newspapers charge for obituary listings, where I think in the past they didn't. It was sort of done as part of a community service of being a newspaper. Also, this past week, Ukraine and Russia are still going at it. Unfortunately, it looks like the Ukrainian counteroffensive has been a complete failure. And there's anecdotal reports coming out that Ukraine's now starting to draft women into their armed forces and kids under 15 in order to bolster the numbers that they have. Why so far there's been no talk of them trying to negotiate a ceasefire or anything. Unfortunately, along those lines, it looks like the reason for that is that the United States and the West have been blocking any effort to do that. They keep throwing money at Ukraine, thinking that they can just somehow pull a win out, when it should be clear that the country's just about devastated. Ukraine's had large numbers of casualties, most of their men. So even if somehow the war ended today, the country's probably just going to fade away because they simply don't have people to do the work anymore. And then of surprise recently, Israel and Hamas have been going at it in Gaza. Apparently, Hamas started some sort of strike, series of rockets and such, and Israel responded, and now they're talking about a massive ground invasion of the Gaza Strip. And also, interest rates are probably the highest that they've been in a while. I was talking with one of my friends this evening with dinner at Dr. Russell's. I had stuffed pork chops, which was very good. One of my friends there at the table was talking about they had rolled over an 8-month CD at 4.8%, which is a rate of interest people haven't been able to get on their CDs in years. I guess prior to this, there were periods of time that they were only getting like 1% or so. And then I made a reference to what I call the Clown Brigade. I've been recently looking for a new position, of a control level position, and it seems I'm getting loads of phone calls, sometimes all about the same position. Meta, which used to be Facebook, will make a posting, and then I'll get like 5 or 6 agencies all calling about it. And again, I call it the Clown Brigade because apparently nobody's coordinating anything. And also, as we get towards the Halloween season, today I went out to my friend Roger Anderson's cemetery plot at Worcester County Memorial Park, and I put a small pumpkin on his headstone, which a number of people around the cemetery I see as I look around. Later this week on Thursday will be what would have been his 72nd birthday. wait a minute, the 19th, and then 3 weeks later, on November 9th this year, it will be 11 years since he passed away. And it's kind of interesting to actually be old enough to have perspective of things. I mean, that's one of the reasons why, I started doing these things, getting used to the whole broadcast and all that, seeing, I don't know, hopefully eventually I'll have a live guest. Well, maybe not necessarily guest, but at least a live viewer show up and ask questions. However, if you missed the live broadcast, you can put a question to me in the comments, and then in the next one, I'll try to get to it and answer it. I also had an interesting event this week where this past Tuesday, my friend's mother, which I was helping to take care of, we were trying to get her back in the house. We were using one of those sitting down walkers, trying to move her up the stairs because she has absolutely no mobility in her legs. She can't bend her legs. However, she can use a walker and go along level ground. So she just needs us to get her up and down the stairs there's a flight at the front of the house and another flight at the back of the house. Unfortunately, when we started to move her up one step, she fell over backwards, bounced her head on the concrete sidewalk, and at the same time broke her right leg. So there was a bit of consternation as we got 911 to send an ambulance, and she went off to Mass General Hospital. She's generally, I guess, doing all right. Surprisingly, on the way to the hospital, she was complaining about what she was wondering why they weren't going to Mount Auburn, which is much closer than Mass General Hospital. But I guess because of the injury that she had, the people that arrived in the ambulance felt that MGH would be the place to take her. So I had an interesting, the rest of the week, instead of helping to do stuff for her in the morning and at lunchtime, I ended up having to help move her two daughters between their house in Belmont and the hospital in Boston. And I finally got down the road, the path to and the best way to and from MGH, going on the Sturo Parkway. One time I missed the whole thing and I took the turn too early around the Charles River, I think it is, and I ended up going down Memorial Parkway, then having to go over the bridge near the Turnpike entrance. I guess they've opened up a newer Turnpike entrance, which should make traveling around that area a bit better. Previously, I think it had been closed off or just newly constructed. And then one of the other things that I'd like to review is the Verizon Theta Wheel. And just to summarize, a Theta Wheel is Theta, when you're talking about options, it's the time value of money. So basically what it is you're setting up a Theta Wheel where you're alternating between put options and call options. You start off with the cash, you sell put options, and basically capturing the time value of that and and then when the stock gets put to you, then you switch over and you start writing call options against your shares. So when I first started this about 3 or 4 weeks ago, Verizon was like at about 30. Well, it was at about 33. However, I recommended a put option at 32. So for every about $3,200, you could write a put option and you'd get about $100 premium. And that gave somebody else the right to put the stock to you at 32. So within the last week or so, Verizon paid out a dividend, and I guess it's generally been sort of like streaming down. So currently, let me see if I can get to where I got the. No. Wait a minute. Where is... Let me get a Verizon quote. VZ is the symbol. Ah. Let me move it over. Whoops. Oh. Wait, let me move it to a new. All right, so here we go. We got Verizon. So currently it's at 3067. So the stock itself is losing a little, but we don't care because we're just good. As long as we keep doing our put options at 32, at least on the theta wheel, we won't be losing any money. So wait a minute, let me get to a current. Okay, all right. So currently, all right. So here we go. We got 3061. So 32. So if we go out like 2 weeks, you could sell for $33. And again, some of the basically, well, again, part of the problem is because it's fallen so far below our sort of like midpoint for the theta wheel, the premiums aren't that high. However, you can easily up the premium a little by going out further, but you don't want to go out too far because then basically the whole thing is sort of like stuck. Also, if you buy something shorter, the theta decay will be much greater, so that if the stock continues to drop, then the price would probably, I don't know, crater to almost nothing, at which point you could potentially just buy back the option and close out the written calls. So I don't know. I guess like about 2 weeks out, get your $33. So let's see. Let's call it 10. Let's call it 12, 23. You got $100 from that, the put option. Then let's say today or yesterday, so the 13th, you got $33 for writing. So so you got your 100 shares of Verizon. Let's say you wrote one contract. You wrote one October 27th, 2023, 32 call. So that's 33 cents per option. And since you got 100 shares, you get to do one contract for $33. Now, what will happen at this point is if the stock goes above 32, potentially the shares will get called away. Otherwise, if nothing if the stock stays below 32, the call option will expire worthless, and then you can write another call option. So let me make note. October 27th, 23, 32 call. All right, so that's my little shorthand. So far you've collected about $133 on 3,200. So that means you made about 4% in the time period, which if you analyze it, so that's like about 2 weeks, so times 26. So on an annualized basis, that's a little over 100% return if you can keep doing that. Which I don't think is likely because Verizon isn't that volatile. Plus, I don't know, for some reason, well, I assume what's part of going on is that the interest rates going up is hurting the performance of the stock, even though it's now yielding. Well, again, it's yielding like a crazy. It's yielding 8.67 for like a, which is kind of nutty. Let's see. I'm looking at the news to see if anything unusual came out. Nope. Surprisingly, nothing unusual going on with Verizon. Well, actually, just to check, let's take a look at the last filing. So that was back in July 7/28. So sometime in October they should have an earnings release. Let's take a look and see. I don't know, something unusual. So that this is a quarterly report. So let's see. Revenue up a little. Well, wait a minute. That's unusual. I guess total operating revenues slid a little. Expenses. Oh, net income took a bit of a beating. I guess the earnings per share was down. Let's see. Net income. Well, I guess they got some hedges here that goosed their net income. Let's take a look at the balance sheet. See if I see anything unusual there. I wonder what this wireless licenses stuff is. You got to wonder, Verizon at this size, why are they? I think that's their 5G licenses that they bought from. I forgot what the company is. I think it was Strip. Was the symbol? Well, retained earnings still keeps marching up, so that's good. It looks like they took some treasury stock and reissued it. I don't know. I mean, I assume that the weakness in Verizon appears to be mainly all interest rate related, because I don't know, the financials look okay. I mean, again, they don't look fantastic because for whatever reason, Verizon seems to love loading itself up on debt instead of just trying to do stuff out of operating earnings. But again, one of the reasons why they do that is because they get all kinds of tax advantages doing it. Instead of trying to struggle and grow the company with after tax income, they use their earnings to go out and borrow and leverage up. Wait, I'm supposed to be showing. Oh, wait a minute. It's not changing screens on me. Wait, I gotta let me figure this out. Wait, hide that. Present. Oops. Wait, present. Stop screen, present. Entire screen. There we go. All right, just a little snafu. Apparently, I shared my initial PowerPoint slide, and then, well, again, I'm going to assume my narration was okay enough that you could follow along. Let's see. So Verizon, the 8.6% yield. Wait a minute. Go here. We'll close this. And then, so basically, so that was the first, that was the $100 premium from right in the put option. And then the shares got put to us. And then I assume at 32, you write a call option 2 weeks out. So total premium so far is $133 on about 3,200. So for the 2 weeks, that's 4.6%. And there's like 26 periods per year. So that's on an annualized basis, 108%. So that's, again, we'll see what happens going forward. All right, so we're all set. Well, actually, wait a minute. Let me change it to format. Currency, no decimals. There we go. All right, so that's all I got for this evening. I don't see anyone else commenting or anything, unfortunately. The next few weeks, I should be on schedule. Halloween this year isn't on the weekend or a Friday or a Saturday. So it shouldn't affect my broadcast schedule. Actually, let me continue on looking in November. Nope, even Christmas the December 23rd. I'm usually at my friend's business. They stay open all night as sort of like a special promotional item. They started doing it last year. So probably I'll have regular weekly broadcasts until the 23rd of December, unless I decide to do it from there in the middle of it. But we'll see about that. But all right, so that's the let's see, where is my all right, so I'm gonna call this I'm gonna end broadcast number 4 for the weeks ending October 6th and October 13th, broadcast on the 14th. Thank you for listening. And again, if you have any questions or anything, just leave a comment and I'll make a note of it in my next broadcast. Plus, also, I'll reply to the comment through the system.